Your data is your identity, and it's becoming more and more interconnected. And I truly believe that if everybody doesn't understand their data, they don't know what they're giving away, because your data is more and more becoming your personal asset, a part of you.
But are there also in this massive amount of data that we're collecting and using, what are the biggest opportunities for the financial services sector in all of this?
So look, I won't go into like boring levels of detail of all the different things you could do with AI, but I think we can see that AI is already being used for KYC, clients, it's being used for onboarding, it's being used for crediting decisions, algorithmic trading. It's not new. And those opportunities will support growth. The amount of money being put into what we call fintech or regtech is huge, it's in the billions. So there are opportunities, and I think that in order to really harness those opportunities, we need to think about how can we manage our products, how can we build systems into our workplace. So moving away from having data science hubs in a corner, thinking about innovative products, and then not being able to scale. And I think if you think about things like safety, security, you will land in that scalability. So being a bit more considered, then there's lots of opportunities. Look, I'll tell you one way in which the FCA is using it. So around 10% of UK adults fell prey to a scam in the last 12 months, with 53% of those people saying they've come across more scams than ever online. The FCA has used these natural language processing tools and machine learning and AI to remove those scams before you ever see them on the website. It's also being used and explored to detect, review and triage other ways to protect consumers and markets. Similarly, I think financial services can look at ways they can do this sort of thing as part of their day-to-day business. It's not mutually exclusive. I think someone said it earlier. We have to stop thinking of innovation, AI, and the work that we do as mutually exclusive, and actually start thinking about them as an ecosystem that we can actually propel us forward if we think about the right guardrails. And I'll give you an example just to come. The internet. Where are we today? If we did not have a level of risk appetite plus the guardrails, we would not have reached how far we have today. I used to think, because I worked with the Bank of England for a long time, and I used to say we're a quill link regulator, because we've been around, I think we've been around about 330 odd years. Ever changing, ever becoming more and more digitized. My time at the bank, I also delivered natural language processing tools. From quill link to natural language processing. We all have the ability to change and adapt.
Yeah.
Well, cost and energy availability. And availability is really important. So that's two things. And the second thing, we've got these vast population of emerging markets that are getting richer, and we're seeing the real playing out of Henry Ford's age, pay your workers more, they can buy you cars. That growth of consumption capacity across Africa, across Latin America, is extraordinary. These are where the opportunities are. So the story for European capital has got to be invest where the growth is. It ain't going to be in Germany. It's going to be in at least the well-governed countries of the emerging markets. That's where the opportunities are. We've got to take a bit more risk. This is what the UK did in the 1880s and the 1900s. We created a period of great wealth creation by investing in the Argentinas of the world and infrastructure in those countries. We just need to do the same thing again in the context of the other 3 points I made, and the population distribution, of course.
Yeah.
We constantly hear complaints about the population crisis, demographic crisis. We have no global demographic crisis. We've got a rich white country demographic crisis, or Japanese as well.
Yes.
We simply need to be thinking broader and thinking about how to.
AI is a bit overused as a term, so we need to kind of demystify it and understand what exactly it does. And in asset management is used for many different tasks, right? So the one where I would say we have to be the most careful is using AI for alpha prediction, right? Now, I'm a quant, so I will tell you, the AI models, that's why I joined this fintech that use AI, so it took me a few weeks to understand that what they're doing is a more advanced model than what I've been doing. So they used to call me version 1 because I was the quant, the factor based, and now they use more data, more adaptive models. And of course, the downside of that is that there is less transparency. So there was an issue 20 years ago with transparency. I would definitely tell you there's a bigger problem here. And so what is very important is that we don't think that just because we use the word AI is the magical box that gives you a properly constructed investment portfolio. So she was talking about methodology. It's very important that we know how those models are run. They're properly constructed with a proper risk model. And we probably need to do more work in understanding what is coming out and how it is managed. So for me, it's a question of transparency that
First, I think it's a great question, and I think there is a little bit of an infrastructure that tries to answer that. So the OECD has published a set of 5 guiding principles in the AI space, and then the EU has actually released the EU Act. And actually, just this May, this is going to soon be coming into place. And there it looks at it through the risk lens. So different sectors have different risks, and depending on the risk, the level of AI, really oversight becomes more or less overseeing. But I do think that then, and I thought in the previous panel that was said, there's a difference between the legal and the ethical element. And there's an ethical element behind the question, which is also very important.
Well, very, very sadly we're out of time, so I'd just like to thank everybody for
To the operators to choose the methodology, as long as they ensure they are compliant with the accuracy this methodology is outputting. And so they can use AI tools, and they are responsible for choosing the right tools and auditing the right tools. And then it comes down again to methodology. And of course, then it's a question of, between us and our clients, the operators, to have the right formal agreement and legal contract and framework as for any kind of other tool that you might use for your operations. But again, it's kind of industry specific, and ours is probably much more simple than others.
No, but if I could add, I think you're adding a very, very important point, right? If I'm thinking about on the investment side, because it's not as important as life, okay? So the worst you can do is you lose money, but let's say that this as well, you try to avoid it. What you have a very fair point, and that doesn't help, right? So you can see, I've seen both sides. I've been the asset management side, and I've seen the fintech side. So I can tell you the positive and the negative of both sides. What is really not helpful is the fintech world that will make a statement. We have this AI model that sorts out everything, and we replace everyone. That creates panic. And also, I will tell you, we should not invest in that. So you could say to me, do we need regulations? Or actually, do we need to make sure that whoever selects those has done the checks? Me having been there, when they show me that, I would say, okay, I want to see what is the model, how do you do it, do you have a proper portfolio construction, proper risk model? So I also tell you, 2 people in technology will not, I repeat, will not replace the asset management world. What they can do is they can help them under the control of the human to advance, right? So I went there because they advance. But the fact that people make those statements, I agree with you. AI is nothing new, it's technology, it's tools. But it has to be done within the parameter of who has the domain expert. So the question you need to ask them, who is the domain expert in asset management in your fintech? If there is not, you should stay away. You see what I'm saying? That really doesn't help the speed of the adoption, because that's exactly what we're trying to do. We're trying to speed the adoption to accelerate the sustainable agenda.
Thank you for tuning in to Nigeria Magazine's YouTube channel. Stay connected, stay informed, and stay inspired with the latest from Nigeria. Remember to like, subscribe, and ring the notification bell to stay updated.